Hi everyone. Last week I shot two videos, a take 1 and take 2 of these tubs showing the plants and fish within. I posted these videos last night and so far they seem to generate a bunch of questions. Thank you very much for your viewership. Since this morning I'm going to be doing some tub maintenance, I thought I'd show you the steps that I go through and also use these containers and net some of the fish out and explain what you've been looking at. And I apologize in advance for some of the annoying background noise that you will hear. It's a fairly windy day today, so there will be wind shear on this camera's microphone. Also, this area where I live is in the flight path of the Honolulu International Airport, so there will be some stray noise from aircraft. But rather than let those things slow me down, I'm just gonna take the video and hopefully get it posted in a timely manner for you. I'll begin by removing both water lilies. And here's the two removed water lilies, each planted in their own 10-inch pot. And what I do first is remove all the spent flowers and leaves that are dying using my thumbnail. I clip them off. Don't pull them off, because sometimes if you do that, you'll damage the main living rhizome. The two water lilies that I have are both the tropical kind, and the strain names are, first this blue violet is called the Tina, and this one with the pink blooms is called the Shirley Bryn. If not for the color of the flowers, I would not be able to distinguish these plants from each other. Their leaves and stems are very similar. Here's the amount of leaves that I removed that were dying, and here's some of the spent flowers that are actually closed and were underwater. Interestingly enough, even though they were underwater, the petals inside were dry. And I suppose if you were to dry them further, you could probably make potpourri or something if you're into such things. I'm not. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is change these leaves and branches that are in these tubs. I get a lot of questions on what exactly are these things, and what these are is a terrestrial fruit tree called the lychee. And basically this tree is the same tree that is above these tubs to limit the amount of sun that these tubs receive during high noon or the midday. And I feel that's important because that limits the amount of suspended green algae that would tend to turn this water green, you know. And you all seen some of those tubs that are like pea soup green. You can't even see the fish. Well, I like being able to see all the way to the bottom of these tubs, and that's what I feel this lychee tree overhead does for me. But if I keep these branches in here too long, these leaves are basically, you know, not thriving. It's not meant to be underwater. They are slowly dying. And if I wait, you know, any longer, the leaves start to fall off these branches, and it creates more work for me, because then now I have to go and fish out all of these leaves that are lying on the bottom of these tubs, so that they don't clog up my siphon, which is going to be the next step, siphoning these tubs. So I leave these branches in here for, you know, up to 2 weeks. Sometimes I get busy and they're in here for 3 weeks, but just to make sure, I'll get them out now and change them. Let's catch some of the fish and show you what I got. Starting with my testosterone tub, or my tub where I keep my male fish. Here are my 3 adult male grammies. I have the blue opaline father fish in here. He's in the back with his 2 lavender 3-spot sons. The father is now about 3 years old and he measures over 4 inches long. The sons are about 1.5 years old and they measure 4 inches. Here they are from the top. I consider myself lucky or fortunate that they coexist in the same tub. This tub is 50 gallons, and I feel that that's large enough that they can stay out of each other's way. Also, the fact that I have 3 helps, because it helps disperse any aggression. They do spar with each other every now and then. Had I had just 2 of them, one would undoubtedly become the dominant one and make life extremely difficult for the other. But since I have 3 of them, the aggression is dispersed, and because I put those lychee branches and leaves, it helps break up the space so that there's not one large open space where one can target the other at any time. The intricate spacing does create some micro habitats that they can kind of get out of each other's way when I guess they don't feel like sparring. But other than that, they seem to get along quite well, and as you can see, all of their scales and fins are intact, so nobody's really seriously damaging any others. And for the most part, I do enjoy watching them interact with each other, and I don't see excessive beating up on each other. They basically spar, but then they basically agree to disagree, and that's about it. It's been going on like this for many months, and things are always subject to change, at which point I'll intervene, but so far so good. Let's now take a look at my male guppies. These are approaching 3 months old, and the vast majority of them are my neon microref strain. These are the golden-bodied males with the yellow flanks and red accents on the caudal and dorsal fins. I also have in here a total of 3 blue eagle males, and a friend of mine dropped these off to me a couple of weeks ago, and I thought, why not just add them into my tubs to add some interest, something of a different color. And I'm not sure what my plans for these are at this point. Just raising them for interest. And what I really like about them is their backs, and when viewed from above, they're highly iridescent scales, and even when the sunlight is dim, these fish seem to glow. I just cut some new branches and leaves from the lychee tree, and I'm going to add them into this tub, the male tub, at this time. I don't want to leave this tub without habitat too long, because I don't want to spark up any fights between the male grummies. So may as well just play it safe and give them something to lurk about. Okay, from the sorority tub where I have my female fish, again grummies and guppies, I do have one male, and he's one of those giant male guppies that is infertile or sterile, so there's really no risk to him impregnating all the other female guppies in here, which I am purposely raising as virgins. And here he is. Just to give you a size comparison, I'll put him in with the normal size male guppies, and you can see just how large he is. There. Okay. There he is compared to the normal male guppies. So he is now 6 months old, and he just continues to grow just like a female guppy. Whereas normal male guppies, once they reach about 3 months old, they stop growing. Let me get rid of that water drop. Okay, there he is. And from the top view, so he is much larger than the normal male guppies. Here's my female grummies. I got my 2 golds, 2 blue opalines, and 1 lavender 3-spot grummy. So the smaller gold is actually the granddaughter of my original gold female, and she's actually catching up in size at this point. She's about 7 months old. The grandmother is about 3 years old. And I have my lavender 3-spot Grommy, which is actually the daughter of the original gold Grommy. And I actually bred her once, and she looks like she's egg-laden again. And my newest addition of store-bought fish, so the two blue opaline Grommies are not related to the other Grommies. You can see in this bottle as well. And there's a size disparity going on. I deliberately bought these at the same size, and as the months rolled by, they are now quite different in size, with the larger one being what appears to me to be a better eater, and that could be, a large reason of why she's, much larger than her sibling. She's actually much younger than the lavender 3-spot Grommy, but she's already the same size. She's egg-laden as well, and I do have breeding plans for her. I'll probably not breed the smaller one, because if I'm going to breed another generation, I'd rather have the one that's a good grower. They all get along. Here's a sampling of my female guppies, and the majority that I have are the golden ones, and those are my neon Micariff strain, and these females are approaching 3 months old. When they are 6 months old, well, they won't be owned by me anymore, but they should all be the size of the large female you see in here, and she is over 6 months old, and I'm keeping her around because she's, adds ornamental value to my tubs. She is one of those that have more than the normal amount of coloration than the average female, the type with the underdeveloped gravid spot that are extremely difficult to breed, and for the most part these types of females are infertile or sterile. I also have in here 5 of the Blue Eagle strain females. These are the ones you see in here, gray-bodied with a half-black caudal peduncle, and I've had them for 2 weeks now, along with the males that I showed you previously. From the top, these Blue Eagle females do exhibit slight iridescence in their back scales, but nowhere near as much as the males. Okay, I'll just add these fish back into the tub where they'll feel more comfortable, and I'm going to stir the tub just to create a vortex to sort of collect all the debris that's strewn about the bottom of these tubs. And what this does is it sort of makes my siphoning more efficient, in that the debris will settle out in a cone in the middle of these tubs. So let that settle, and while I wait, I'll just do that to the male tub as well. I'll remove these lychee leaves that I placed in here, the new lychee leaves, and stir this one as well. Some of the nicest views are when all the fish are basically opposing the current and swimming all in one direction. The water doesn't take long to settle out, and now I just direct the suction end of this siphon over the cone of debris. You can see all the detritus and other stuff making its way into this bucket. And I'll use this effluent to water my land plants. I suppose there's good fertilizer in here. With or without the stirring action, I try to siphon these tubs at least once every 2 weeks. Here I'm doing the second tub. I always kind of check it out to make sure I'm not siphoning up any fish. And it happens from time to time, but it's a rare occurrence. And as a second check, I do check the bucket to make sure that there's no fish in here before getting rid of the water. For today, from each of the tubs, I siphon 4 gallons. Sometimes it's as little as 3, sometimes it's a full 5 gallons that I remove. I just replaced the vegetation into the male tub, and I'll do the same for the female tub at this time. We can see that right now this tub is bare. I don't have gravel at the bottom, and that just makes cleaning up a little bit easier. The last thing I need to do is top off the water into my tubs, and during the last few days it's been raining and I collected some rainwater. So I'll be using these buckets to top off these tubs. When I don't have rainwater collected or the weather's been dry, I just use tap water. My municipal water supply doesn't fluorinate the water, and if they use chlorine at all, the levels are so low that it's never been a problem. The other parameters such as pH and hardness have always been in check as well. I've never had to worry about it. So I definitely am not advocating for my methods for raising fish, because I realize that a lot of viewers out there live in temperate areas and you do go through cold seasons and cannot do outdoor tubs such as these. But hopefully there's some ideas in here that can still be exported to your methods. So again, this is only my method and what works for me, and I hope you enjoyed seeing these. Thanks for watching.